of almost nothing, there have been 125 catchers suit up this season in Major League Baseball. Of those 125, Yasmani Grandal ranks 124th when it comes to controlling the opponent's running game. Good morning to you. You see how these shows get started. Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Reds 11, Pirates 5 last night in Cincinnati. And for me to share with you everything that went wrong would be a waste of everyone's time. For me to rant yet again about how this team can't sustain any sort of success would be a waste of everyone's time. So let's pick on just one position. Not even a player, but a position. Because Grandal is terrible. We all get that. And I'm about to support that statement. But what's more striking than that is that Ben Cherington just has no eye for this specific position at all, does he? I mean, you know, it's commonly said that every sports executive has some sort of shortcoming, an area where no matter what it is that they try to do, they just can't hit it. In Cherington's case, and I actually mean this, I don't think he tries at this position. And that's been true since the COVID year, since 2020, when he would just go and find a bunch of catchers who were known to be pretty good defensively and couldn't hit at all. And it's funny because Luke Maile was one of them, and he had all kinds of hits last night at Great American Ballpark. But that's been his thing. It's almost as if he was making a statement to suggest that offense from the catching position isn't important. And I guess to an extent I gave him, he was new and whatever, the benefit of the doubt. I thought, all right, maybe he's onto something here. You're getting catchers who are really, really sound back there. It's a young pitching staff at the time. It's coming with a little bit of extra value that they can catch sliders in the dirt with a man on third or control that guy at first base. And then, starting about, I'd say a year or two ago, Cherington took on a new tact at the catching position and decided that he'd go for neither. I'm not about to say that Austin Hedges was terrible defensively. That wouldn't be true. But he wasn't anywhere near good defensively while he was with the Pirates for whatever reason. And now along comes Grandal, the latest dumpster dive in free agency, to try to address this position, to whatever extent Cherington even cares to address it. And he is legitimately terrible. I am not just saying that either, because he's now batting 186 with 2 home runs and 14 RBIs and 102 at-bats. That only gives him something in common with all Cherington catchers. None of them can hit, at least not while they're in Pittsburgh. But if you managed to stomach any significant percentage of that game last night in Cincinnati, you also saw Grandal essentially concede a run at home plate. There was a runner coming around third from second base on a single out to Edward Olivares in right field. Olivares is not a great outfielder. He's shown that multiple times, and he showed it multiple times again last night. On this occasion, just a one bouncer goes right to him, and he rears back for the throw, and he fires it. It's up the baseline. The one good thing about throws that are up the baseline from the outfield is that they're coming from the outfield, so you have some time to adjust. Grandal moves up the baseline, but he also moves way behind the baseline, which made no sense. I watched the play on a video loop probably about 10 times to try to figure out what he was doing, because the camera angles of this entire sequence weren't all that awesome, but every time I came to the same conclusion. What's he doing back there? Why did he back off the baseline, going further, deeper into foul territory? As it turns out, Oliveras' throw did arrive in time, but the runner had no difficulty at all and didn't really even have to stray from the chalk to reach home safely. Meanwhile, Grandal is lunging way out to try to tag this dude. All he had to do was stay at the baseline, the only place he could have possibly made a play. You know, I'm not an idiot. I know they lost 11-5, and I know that run wasn't why and everything. It's just, we can either go over this stuff collectively day after day after day, or you can start singling out some of the people who are the most responsible for this team continuing to lose despite having, with apologies and acknowledgement to Bailey Falter not having his best game last night, an outstanding overall rotation. So Grandal's one of them. You know, Henry Davis obviously stands out like the sorest of sore thumbs because he's a number 1 overall pick. So he's either struggling or in the minors or hurt. Jason DeLay is, he's Jason DeLay. I liked what I saw of Joey Bart. He got hurt. Before long, I'm sure they'd knock the offense out of him too. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible that for 5 years now, even in the case of, and please don't forget about him, Endy Rodriguez, Endy was able to hit at every level and hit at an extremely high rate at every level along the way. Gets to Pittsburgh, suddenly can't hit. And then he, of course, is lost for the season to the elbow surgery that followed the Pirates allowing him to play winter ball. Whatever, I guess it's just the catcher position. Nobody cares, right? When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern. That's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Chris, who says, DK, if the Pirates were to land a bat, it would have to be a veteran bat unless they get a new hitting coach, right? And you can hear a question like that listening to this program today and not think even for a second that one syllable of it sounds nuts. It's just completely normal to ask that question. It's completely fair to ask that question. Because as Chris seems to recognize, and others do as well, unless you're an established hitter and you're coming with your own personality, your own profile, and you can't be messed with, you're going to be a bad hitter in Pittsburgh. Brian Reynolds was, of course, reared in the Giants system up to the AA level at San Francisco, and he is as set in stone as a guy under 30 can be. He just has that something about him where he's always been able to hit. I know he's not a superstar or whatever, but you're seeing now, and the hitting streak, by the way, reached 21 last night with a couple more hits. He's reliable. He's dependable. And he's got nothing to do with the ongoing hitting instruction of the Pirates. The same can be spoken, of course, of the Pirates' only other player in that category, that being Andrew McCutchen. He hasn't needed a hitting coach for a long time. But everyone else across the board, no exceptions, for years now, that's not the case. So, Chris, I know why you're asking the question, and I know what's behind it. I just happen to agree. I don't have anything else to add to that. Yes is the answer. If you were to bring in a hitter from the outside, it's going to have to be someone that you can trust to basically take care of themselves, or that they're already so set that you just don't worry about it. But if, as some have suggested, you try to, let's say, trade a pitching prospect for a hitting prospect or a 4A type or someone who's just on the cusp of making it to the majors, presuming that sort of transaction would even be feasible, if you were to do that, you're wasting your asset. You're wasting your move, because that player now has to be coached up by Andy Haynes, and that's a great path to 195. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates day after day. Gluttons, all of you. We're going to do it again tomorrow anyway.